Imagine sailing without a compass or radar, or even like a depth finder. Talk about navigating blind. And that's kind of what it feels like trying to run a project without a solid monitoring and evaluation system, or M&E as we often call it. But luckily, we've got a roadmap today to help you build one.
It's true. A good M&E system is like having a GPS and like a detailed dashboard for your project all rolled into one. It can feel daunting to get started, but it's absolutely crucial if you're serious about measuring your impact and making informed decisions.
Okay, so before we get into like all the nuts and bolts here, I think it would help if we define exactly what we mean by an M&E system. And it gets thrown around a lot, but I'm not always sure everyone's on the same page.
Good point. An M&E system is a network of processes and tools, and most importantly, people all working together. It goes beyond just collecting data. It's about tracking your project's progress, guiding decisions, learning from experience, and ultimately demonstrating the impact you're making.
So it's not just about numbers. It's about using those numbers to tell a story and to learn and to make improvements. And you actually need 6 key ingredients to make this system work.
That's right. Think of it like a recipe. You need the right people, clear processes, the right tools for the job, a solid way to manage your data, a way to analyze and learn from that data, and finally, a strategy for reporting and using what you found.
Okay, I'm starting to get a clearer picture here. But I know for some people, just hearing those 6 components can be a bit overwhelming. So where do we even begin to build this thing?
Well, you wouldn't start baking a cake without first checking your ingredients and making sure your oven works right. Same goes for building an M&E system. There's a preparation phase that's all about setting yourself up for success.
So what are the key things we need to check before we even start thinking about collecting data?
One of the first things to consider is your organization's readiness. Are you truly committed to M&E? Do you have the resources? Is there buy-in from leadership? If you're missing any of those key ingredients, your cake might fall flat.
Let's say I'm leading a small nonprofit. I'm excited about M&E, but I need to convince my board that it's worth the investment. So what's the best way to get them on board?
That's where a strong business case comes in. You need to highlight the tangible benefits of M&E. Better decision-making, improved outcomes, increased accountability, even stronger funding proposals. Show them how M&E can save time and resources in the long run, even if there's an initial investment.
Okay, I'm sold. Let's say I've got my board on board and we're ready to go. What's the next step in this pre-development phase?
Now it's time to get practical. What kind of resources do you need? Who are your key stakeholders? How are you going to engage them? Think about it like assembling your team and gathering your supplies before you break ground on a new building.
Okay, so I need to think about people, budget, technology,
hmm
and making sure everyone who needs to be involved is on board and knows their role.
Exactly. That's the groundwork. Once you've laid a solid foundation, you're ready to move on to the planning phase where you'll create the blueprint for your M&E system.
So we've got our ingredients, our tools, our team, and our blueprints. What's next? Do we just start measuring everything in sight?
Not quite. Just like you wouldn't start building a house without a clear plan. You don't want to just dive into data collection without first creating a framework for your M&E system.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
see how that would lead to chaos.
Sure.
So what exactly is an M&E framework, and how do we go about creating one?
Think of it as a master plan that outlines what you're measuring, why you're measuring it, how you'll measure it when you'll measure it, and who is responsible for each step.
So it's like a roadmap for your entire M&E process,
Yeah.
ensuring that everyone is on the same page and working towards the same goals.
Exactly. And a key part of that framework is developing what's called a theory of change.
Theory of change. That sounds a bit academic. It's
Yeah.
really necessary.
It's more practical than you might think. It's basically the story of how your project is supposed to work. You start with your ultimate goal and work backward, identifying the steps and assumptions that need to happen to get there. Like, if we provide X training to Y people, then Z outcomes should occur, leading us to our ultimate goal.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like a logical chain reaction. And by mapping it out, you can identify those crucial points where you need to collect data to see if your theory is holding true.
Hmm.
So once we've got our framework and our theory of change, how do we actually decide what to measure?
That's where indicators come in. They're like the vital signs for your project telling you if it's healthy and on track.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure these indicators are smart.
Okay. I know SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah.
But give me a real-world example. What would a SMART indicator look like for, let's say, a literacy program?
Let's say your ultimate goal is to increase literacy rates in a specific community. A SMART indicator might be the percentage of children age 6 to 10 in District A who can read a simple paragraph by the end of the school year. It's specific, measurable, achievable, directly relevant to your goal, and has a clear time frame.
Okay, that's a lot clearer now. So we've got our framework, our theory of change, our smart indicators. What else is crucial in this planning phase?
You've got to figure out your data flow. Who collects the data? How does it get entered, cleaned, analyzed, and ultimately used to make decisions? Think of it like designing the plumbing system in your M&E house. You don't want any leaks or backups. It's all about making sure the right information gets to the right people at the right time. And that's where tools like the RACI matrix can come in handy.
Ah, the RACI
Yeah.
matrix. That stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consultant, Informed, Right. I've seen those used in project management, but I haven't really thought about applying them to M&E.
It's a great way to define roles and responsibilities within your M&E system. Who's responsible for collecting the data? Who needs to sign off on reports? Who needs to be kept in the loop? A RACI matrix can help prevent confusion and ensure that everyone knows what's expected of them.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. We've got our blueprint, our plan is solid. Now it's time to actually build this thing right. What comes next?
Think about setting up your kitchen. You wouldn't just buy any random tools, right? You'd choose tools that are appropriate for the kind of cooking you want to do. Same goes for building the M&E infrastructure. It's all about selecting the right tools and methods for your specific needs.
So I might need a basic set of kitchen tools if I'm just whipping up simple meals. But if I'm aiming for gourmet, I'd need more specialized equipment. How does that translate to M&E tools?
Exactly. It's about finding the right fit. You need to consider cost, ease of use, offline functionality, if that's relevant to your context, and the level of analysis you need to be able to do. Maybe you can start with simple spreadsheets and online surveys. And then later on, if your needs evolve, you can explore more advanced database systems or data visualization software.
It sounds like the key is to start simple and then scale up as your organization and your M&E needs mature. I appreciate you emphasizing that because it can definitely feel overwhelming to think about setting up a complex system right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And just like you'd carefully arrange your kitchen for efficiency, you need to think about how you'll collect, manage, and store your data. Well-designed forms, clear data flow processes, and secure storage solutions are all essential parts of this infrastructure.
And I imagine having standardized reporting templates would be super helpful, right? Consistent formats for activity reports, progress reports, donor reports. It would save so much time and ensure that everyone's on the same page.
You're getting it. Standardization is key for efficiency and clarity. And of course, we can't forget about quality assurance. Garbage in, garbage out right. You need to build in checks and balances at every stage to ensure your data is accurate and reliable.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, we've planned our system, we've built our infrastructure, and we're ready to roll. What does the implementation phase look like?
Now, it's all about bringing the system to life through people and processes. It's like having a beautifully designed kitchen. But if no one knows how to use the appliances or follow the recipes, you won't get very far.
So training and capacity building are crucial at this stage. We need to make sure our team has the skills and knowledge to use this system effectively.
Exactly. Imagine if your literacy program staff aren't comfortable using the data collection tools or don't understand how to interpret the results. It's all about empowering your team. And pilot testing is a great way to do that.
So before we roll out this new system to the entire organization, we choose a smaller pilot area to test things out, get feedback, and work out any kinks.
Exactly. A pilot test allows you to iron out any wrinkles before going organization-wide. And while you're ironing, make sure to document everything. Create those standard operating procedures for data collection analysis reporting. It might seem tedious, but trust me, it will save you headaches down the road.
It's like having a recipe book for your M&E system, ensuring consistency and making it easier for new people to come on board.
Perfect analogy. And don't forget about change management. People can be resistant to new systems. So clear communication, a supportive environment, and a bit of positive reinforcement can go a long way.
It's about getting everyone excited about this new M&E adventure.
Exactly. Now, we've covered a lot, but there's one crucial element we haven't touched on yet: sustainability. We don't want this beautifully crafted M&E system to wither on the vine, right?
Absolutely not. We need to make sure this thing thrives for the long haul. What are some key considerations for building a sustainable M&E system?
Imagine you've planted a beautiful garden. You wouldn't just walk away and hope for the best, right? You'd nurture it, water it, make sure it gets enough sunlight. Sustainability is about creating the right conditions for your M&E system to flourish.
Okay, so what kind of gardening do we need to do to keep our M&E system healthy and thriving?
Integration is key. We don't want M&E to be this isolated thing happening over in a corner. We want it woven into the fabric of the organization. So think about how M&E can connect with your budget cycles, your annual planning process, your staff performance reviews, even your existing project management system.
It becomes part of the organizational DNA, not just an add-on. I like that. What else?
You need to cultivate a culture of learning. M&E isn't just about collecting data, it's about using that data to learn and improve. So encourage regular data review meetings, create spaces for reflection and knowledge sharing, and maybe even consider incentivizing data-driven decision-making.
So we want our team to not just collect data, but to analyze it, to learn from it, and to use it to make their work even better.
Precisely. And just like you'd prune your garden to keep it healthy, you need to build in regular review and update processes for your M&E system. Are your indicators still relevant? Are you collecting too much or too little data? Is the system still meeting your needs? These are the questions to ask yourself.
So it's about continuous improvement, always looking for ways to make the system more effective and more useful. But even with the best intentions, I can imagine, there are challenges and pitfalls along the way.
Every journey has its bumps in the road. But the good news is a lot of the challenges organizations face are predictable, and there are proven strategies for navigating them.
Okay, so let's talk about those bumps in the road. What are some common challenges that organizations run into when building and implementing M&E systems?
One of the biggest traps is overcomplexity. Trying to measure everything under the sun, creating these ridiculously long data collection forms, churning out reports that no one actually reads. It's a recipe for M&E burnout.
Yeah, it's like trying to build a gourmet 5-course meal when all you really need is a simple, nourishing sandwich.
Exactly. Remember, start simple and scale gradually. Focus on those essential indicators, choose user-friendly tools, and create reports that are concise and actually get used. Another common pitfall is poor data quality. Inconsistent, data-missing information, late submissions. It's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand.
And that just makes the whole system unreliable. If you can't trust your data, you can't trust your analysis or your decisions.
That's why quality checks are so important. Building validation rules into your forms, conducting regular data audits, providing training on data entry best practices. It's about being proactive and preventing those data errors before they even happen.
So we talked about the importance of leadership buy-in early on, but I imagine maintaining that buy-in throughout the process can be a challenge too. How do you keep everyone engaged and enthusiastic about M&E?
It's all about showing the value. Highlight those early wins, share success stories, and most importantly, make sure the data is actually being used to drive decision-making. People need to see that M&E isn't just a bureaucratic box-checking exercise. It's a valuable tool that can help them do their work better.
So we've got our system up and running, we're collecting good data, we're analyzing it, we're using it to make decisions, but the world is constantly changing. So how do we ensure our M&E system stays relevant and adaptable over time?
Just like you wouldn't use a 10-year-old map to navigate a new city, you need to regularly review and update your M&E system. Make sure your indicators are still aligned with your goals. Check if you're collecting the right data in the right way, and be open to incorporating new technologies and approaches as they emerge.
So M&E isn't a one-and-done project. It's an ongoing journey of learning and adaptation.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There's a whole community of M&E practitioners out there who are eager to share their knowledge and experiences. Connect with them, learn from their successes and their mistakes. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of M&E. I feel like we've demystified the process and given our listeners a practical roadmap to follow.
I hope so. And I hope they're feeling empowered and excited to embark on their own M&E journeys.
Me too. Before we wrap up, let's recap those 3 key takeaways for our listeners.
First, start simple and scale smart. Don't try to boil the ocean. Focus on your essential needs and build gradually from there. Second, remember our M&E success formula. Clear purpose, the right tools, trained people, and strong leadership support. Get those right, and you're well on your way.
And third,
never lose sight of the basics. Is your data useful? Is it high quality? Are you building capacity within your team? And are you keeping things as simple as possible? If you can answer yes to those questions, you're on the right track.
those are great reminders. So what's one small step our listeners can take today to either kickstart their M&E journey or improve their existing system?
It could be as simple as having a conversation with their team about their M&E needs, or identifying one key question they want their M&E system to answer. Remember, even small steps can lead to significant improvements over time.
This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure. And to our listeners, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.
Until next time, keep diving deep.